Pat Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
I am Pat of Helena, son of Joseph. Some people call me the space cowboy. Some call me the gangster of love. Some people call me Maurice, but, you know, I speak of the pompatus of love.
I'm one of those who call you Maurice. I mean, off the air.
Really?
Obviously.
Okay. I'm pretty sure there's no such word as pompatus. I think that Steve Miller made that up completely. And supposedly each of those names, Space Cowboy, Gangster of Love, and the Maurice thing were all names of previous songs that he did from other albums.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Isn't that weird? Just awesome music. Just simpler time.
Mm-hmm. So pompatus, not a word.
Pompatus, not a word. No. I mean, that was one of the things that Steve Miller did, was write unique songs and cool lyrics. Like in Jungle Love. I've always loved the second verse of that. But lately you live in the jungle. I never see you alone. So but we need some definite answers. So I thought I would write you a poem. The question to everyone's answer is usually asked from within. But the patterns of the rain and the truth they contain have written my life on your skin. What does it mean? I have no idea.
Right. I don't know that he does either.
Maybe one day we'll call some random numbers and recite those lyrics to somebody.
Oh, yes. There's been a clamoring among the Pat heads for that. Yes, the Pat mob has spoken. But that's not where I thought you were going. I thought, since you were talking about made-up words, I thought you were going with the new Webster's dictionary entry, which apparently they now deem irregardless. Irregardless, now a word, but no, it's not. I refuse.
Why would they put that? Why would they do that? Because people misuse the words regardless so much?
Yeah, they have this justification, which, let's just be clear, I don't care if Merriam-Webster's dictionary says it's a word. If you use it, I still think you're an idiot. Okay? Mm-hmm. But they have a justification for when they add new words, and I guess it met that criteria, which is a lot of people use it. That's so stupid.
It is.
Doesn't make it a word.
I think they did that with ain't, too.
Whoa.
At one point.
Whoa, sir. Okay, hang on a second.
I think they did that.
I will die on that hill. Ain't is a word.
Despite the heavy volume of polite letters and messages they get expressing displeasure at the very existence of the word, the dictionary has defined it. The word was first known to be used in 1795, is defined as meaning regardless.
Then you don't need another word, man.
The reason we and these dictionaries define irregardless is very simple.
Okay, here we go.
It meets our criteria for inclusion. This word has been used by a large number of people, millions, for a long time, over 200 years, with a specific and identifiable meaning, regardless. The fact that it's unnecessary, as there is already a word in English with the same meaning, regardless.
2020, you give and you give.
They say it's not terribly important. It's not a dictionary's job to assess whether a word is necessary before defining it. Oh, wow. Okay. No, what your job is to define whether the word is correct. Not if it's used a lot, improperly. Oh, man. Ridiculous.
If there was ever a year for irregardless to be recognized as an official word by the dictionary.
Definitely, we're in it. We're in it. We're soaking in it right now. Big show today. Bottom of hour 2. We're going to talk to a nurse who helped out in a New York City hospital when things were really bad there. And while she was there, she encountered just some absolutely bizarre things that were going on.
Horrific. Including
what she described in the video she released. It's like an hour and a half or something. She did this video and kind of went undercover. She got, I think, some glasses that would record video and audio and video.
Yeah, the one person that has purchased the Google glasses. I think.
Yeah. And so in that video, she called some of what was going on there murder.
Mm-hmm.
Bizarre. But she's got some interesting insights into this COVID situation. Also, just want to hear from you, preferably on the phone at 888-900-3393, on where you are on this virus right now. Are we doing the right things? Or is this all overblown, overhyped? there are still more racially motivated crimes that have turned out to be hoaxes. We'll get into some of those today. And we're going to start out with a thought that hit me after I read an article yesterday about these statues being torn down. We've already discussed the article I read in the Federalist from Christopher Bedford, I think it was, when he was talking about his observations on the historical significance of when a society starts tearing down its monuments and statues. The next step, historically speaking, he found, is always going after people. But my thought was, as these statues are being torn down, what then will fill the void? Everywhere we look, these statues are being graffitied or torn down by mobs. In some cases, city officials are actually voting to remove them and tearing them down. And it all started with, I think, statues that could be considered problematic, Confederate soldiers, some explorers, and others who were mostly associated with slavery and racism. But now it's spread to founding fathers and the great emancipator, Abraham Lincoln, removing the Washington Monument, Jefferson Memorial, and possibly even Mount Rushmore has been or is being discussed right now. It's gotten so all-encompassing that in downtown Portland last week, a huge statue of an elk was set on fire and then torn down. So, why were these statues erected in the first place? It's because the people being memorialized meant enough to the citizens of that area, state, or the nation as a whole to honor them with a permanent tribute, right? And now in the case of Confederates, the perception has obviously changed dramatically over time. And rather than a tribute, in many cases, those statues stood as a warning or maybe a reminder of history and some road you don't want to travel down. As far as our founders are concerned, for the vast majority of Americans, up until the last few weeks at least, while we all know that they weren't perfect beings, they were still revered. And we honored them for their sacrifices and the wisdom they shared while establishing this country, the greatest in the history of the planet. So now that those sentiments have changed for some, and the country can't even come together on whether or not it's okay to be patriotic on the 4th of July now. So all of this leads me to wonder what exactly is going to fill the void left by the destruction of these monuments. Because surely the void will be filled by something or someone. Will the silent majority remain silent while Black Lives Matter or Antifa or other equally radical elements are the ones who are allowed to decide to whom this nation is going to turn for inspiration? Are we going to let them erect the monuments? Will a Che Guevara monument go up in the spot where George Washington once stood? Since Black Lives Matter, Ilhan Omar and many others are calling for a complete overthrow of not just our system of justice, but now our economic system as well. Maybe they'll insist that Karl Marx rise in the place of Thomas Jefferson. I can hear them arguing. Well, Karl Marx never owned slaves. His system will bring about equality. Maybe we should set aside space for Black Panther founders, Huey Newton and Bobby Seale. What about a massive monument to Margaret Sanger? Look at all she's done for women's reproductive rights. So much, so much. It might seem far-fetched that we'd even consider monuments being erected to men or women like this, but remember, nature abhors a vacuum, and those spaces will be filled by someone. I really believe they will be filled by someone. Is it really a stretch, given all that we've seen in just the past 6 months alone, to believe radical leftists will insist that capitalism and white people have already been given their chance and it didn't work? Now it's time to turn elsewhere for fresh ideas and inspiration. And by the way, it's already starting to happen. Some advocates are saying we need monuments going up to U.S. Representative Barbara Jordan or Mexican-American civil rights leader Dolores Huerta. Dolores Huerta, socialist. There's a socialist right there. So if you don't believe it's possible, they're already talking about it. And so it's already begun. And so it has begun. 888-900-3393. We're going to have to decide where we stand on this stuff. And if we're going to take a stand on this stuff, or are we going to remain silent? Are we just going to keep quiet about it? Go ahead and put it up. Doesn't matter. Doesn't mean anything.
What a great opportunity for Daniel Snyder, the owner of the Washington Redskins. Oh, I'm sorry. What a great time for him to change his team's nickname. What about the Washington Founders? Huh? I mean, he's in Washington, D.C. Come on, I'm giving you the idea, Dan. Come on, you can take this. Washington Founders should be the nickname of the football team.
It won't be.
No.
But that might be cool.
I mean, what are they going to do then? I mean, are they going to now they're going to be upset that, oh my gosh, now you're praising old white racist slave owners.
That's what you would hear. That's exactly what you would hear. Got some tweets since we last met from Rudy Giuliani tweeted this out.
Tweeted us directly?
Yes, directly to us.
Wow.
Yeah. Dr. Anthony Doomsday Fauci just said it's a false narrative to take comfort in a lower rate of death. Would he be happier with a higher rate?
Right.
What is?
I thought that was good.
What?
I don't know. After you hear the interview with Nurse Erin, who's going to join us at 8:30 Eastern, maybe they do want more people to die. Actually,
maybe. That's a bizarre statement.
Yeah.
False narrative to take comfort in a lower rate of death. Huh. Okay. This guy just does not want anybody to calm down here. He doesn't want that. He wants you to panic, and he wants things to remain closed. I really think he wants the football and basketball seasons to be canceled. And by the way, the Ivy League has stepped up and done that for him.
Yeah.
The Ivy League canceled all fall sports. So that includes football and basketball. What else do they play in the fall? Is that about it? Hockey, if they have hockey, I think, in the Ivy League. Mm-hmm. But mainly football and basketball gone. So how's that going to affect everybody else? Fortunately, I'm concerned with FBS football, not FCS football. So that shouldn't affect the football bowl season.
I do appreciate the quote from Coach Harbaugh of Michigan, where he said, look, this thing existed.
Harbaugh. Yeah. I'd marry this guy, I think.
Yeah,
now.
He's already come out for against Planned Parenthood, right?
Yes, yes, he did.
Yeah, and so now he's trying to save the football season.
On moving forward with plans for fall football season, COVID is part of our society. It wasn't caused by football or caused by sports. There's no expert view right now that I'm aware of that sports is going to make that worse. Yes! Thank you. Thank you, Jim.
Play ball.
I love you.
Let's go.
You're my friend, Jim Harbaugh.
Seriously.
Even though I can't stand the Michigan Wolverines.
Yeah.
You're my friend right now.
Yeah, yes, I'm whatever, man. Now we're all Michigan fans now.
Yes. Yes, we are. And I hope that's the sentiment with most college football, big-time college football coaches. I hope. Now, I know that BYU is supposed to start mandatory workouts Monday, right? Is that? Yeah, Monday. And that seems to be still on track. So it's still going forward. Nobody said we're not playing any of the games. Nobody said we're pushing back this season, which I wouldn't mind that much if they push back this season. Just don't cancel it. Just don't take away games.
NHL's already saying we're going to start our new season December 1st.
Oh, so they're already pushing it back.
No. Oh, yeah, I mean, they said they were going to push it back.
Did they? Okay.
But I mean, at least they're saying we're starting our season, and that's in addition to finishing up this season, which begins 1st of August.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I like that. Yeah.
All right.
But hey, we've got soccer, right? MLS soccer is happening. Is that right? I mean, we got this tweet here. Yep, we got this tweet here that telling us about the play-by-play going on there. That's exciting.
Mm-hmm. Pat had estimated profit sends us this tweet. The Miami-Orlando MLS game was preceded by the players kneeling with a fist in the air for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. It was just as exciting as the actual game. I bet. I'll bet.
8 minutes and 46 seconds. I hope that
that's agonizing,
the
man.
TV networks had a heads up so they could sell an extra 9 minutes of spots before the game started.
Yeah.
I mean, that's okay,
ridiculous.
I got it. And by the way, final score, I looked this up now. Wow, look at this. They had to go into stoppage time.
Whatever that is.
And it's like overtime, where there's one person in the entire universe that knows how much time's left. No room for fraud there, sucker.
Why can't they just put the time up?
Why can't they share that with the rest of us, right?
Yeah, just put the time up.
Do we not have the technology to see
every other freaking sport in the world?
It's ridiculous. 2-1, by the way. 2-1. Orlando takes the win. Boy, what a high-scoring affair.
For soccer, it actually is. 3 goals? They were out of their minds.
Well, they needed stoppage time. And by the way, it's not stoppage time, it's overtime. Okay?
It's a dumb sport.
It's
a communist sport. We all know it. Everybody knows it.
Waste of a good pitch.
Let me tell you about iTarget Pro. 2020 has certainly reminded us about the importance of self-reliance, has it not? We've seen COVID, civil unrest, bring out the worst in some people. And the fact is, the police can't be everywhere all at once. They can't. That's why it's so important to be properly trained if you're a gun owner. iTarget Pro is one of the best ways to dry fire train with your gun at home using their proprietary app and laser bullet. What's great about it is you don't have to count on the gun range. You can do this at home. You can you fire it with their laser bullet, which makes it completely safe to fire with your kids around. Let your kids fire the gun. Let them become proficient as well. It's really convenient. It's safe. It's going to save you a ton of money on ammunition. Plus, you don't need to wear a mask to do it in the comfort and privacy of your own home. Dry fire training will develop muscle memory, help with reaction, target reaction speed, sight alignment, trigger function, all kinds of things. iTarget comes in all the major calibers, .223, .556. You can stay sharp with almost any firearm. And right now, get 10% off plus free shipping when you use the offer code PAT. So go to iTarget Pro. That's the letter I, then targetpro.com. itargetpro.com, offer code PAT.
You're listening to Pat Gray Unleashed.
You look very, very pensive in that shot, Keith, with the, what's it called, off the mic or on the mic or something that's...
At the mic?
At the mic.
Or as my mom calls it, drop the mic with Keith.
Drop the mic?
Yeah. No, it's add the mic, but thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked really intelligent, like you're really putting some serious thought into it.
Well, I think there was some dust on the microphone at that moment in time, and I was trying to, wipe it off.
Okay.
I figured, no, let's just go with that picture there. But yeah, I'm excited. Tomorrow's podcast drops every Friday morning. Listen to it after Pat's done here. Mm-hmm. But tomorrow I've got David Brown, host of the podcast Business Wars, and it's a great interview. He's a fun guy. I'd check out that podcast too. You know what? There, I just set up your whole day. Pat, at the mic, and then Business Wars, and then maybe I guess this Glenn Beck guy down the hall does something, right?
Yeah, something, sometime. I don't know. BLM teacher says 2 plus 2 only equals Western imperialism. Okay. The idea, this is from Brittany Marshall, the idea of 2 plus 2 equaling 4 is cultural. And what? No, it's cultural.
I can't, man. I can't.
What?
I can't take it, Pat.
I'm sorry. What? Show me the culture where 2 plus 2 isn't 4. What? What do you mean it's cultural?
I'm going to drive this desk into a lake.
The idea of 2 plus 2 equaling 4 is cultural, and because of Western imperialism / colonization, we think of it as the only way of knowing. What? By the way, this person is Brittany is a teacher.
A teacher.
She's a teacher.
Oh, that's good.
That's great. This is, I guess, her profile. She's she even provides us her pronouns, preferred pronouns. She, her. Thank you for that, Brittany. She, her. You can refer to her as she and her. teacher, scholar, social justice change agent.
She's a social justice change agent.
Yes.
Oh, that's a fun title.
Yeah. Chicagoan, PhD student, architecture enthusiast, wannabe math person. That's for sure. When 2 + 2 is 4 is cultural.
You said it, wannabe math person.
And BLM, always.
BLM.
Black Lives Matter.
Always. She's fun, Brittany. Boy, good luck sending your kid. Maybe you shouldn't send our kids back to school this fall. Got to sit in a room with teacher Brittany. Oh. Math.
I'd be looking out for a teacher name because it doesn't say where she's from. Oh, yeah, Chicago.
Proud Chicagoan. Probably the only profile that says that on Twitter.
Western imperialism is responsible for 2 + 2. Let me see here. Brittany
She's got a teacher.
Marshall. Brittany Marshall. Watch out for Brittany Marshall in the Chicago school system. I'd be pulling my kids out of that class. Wow, that is unbelievable. Then we've got a Black Lives Matter leader in Toronto who believes white people are subhuman and calls them genetic defects. Okay. That's not racist, though. That's good.
No.
I'm glad to see that there's no racism involved here. No hate involved here. No hate speech involved. Social media post just resurfaced from a Black Lives Matter Toronto co-founder in which she apparently is that her preferred pronoun? Do we know that for a fact that she is apparently argues that white people are subhuman and are recessive genetic defects. Wow, can you imagine saying that about any race other than whites? Seriously, you would be drummed out of society. You would not have a job. You would not be able to get a job if you're a white person who says that about blacks. But it's perfectly fine, I guess, somehow, for this black woman from Toronto to say it about whites. Why is this okay? It isn't. It isn't. Why do we tolerate this? Her name is Yusra Kogali. She wrote, whiteness is not human Xness.
What is that? What?
Humexness?
Humexness?
In fact, white skin is subhumexness.
You don't even speak words. I mean, next thing you know is going to be the word irregardless going to pop up in this post from her.
Well, it would be perfectly appropriate because it's now in the dictionary. White people are recessive genetic defects. This is factual.
Factual.
The post says. White people, this is factual.
It's not factual just because you say it's factual.
I love that. White people are genetic defects, recessive genetic defects. This is factual. Is it, Puddin'? Is it? Okay. All right. Thank you. Show me the science on that. White people need white supremacy as a mechanism to protect their survival as a people because all they could do is produce themselves. Black people simply, through their dominant genes, can literally wipe out the white race if we had the power to. Well, wait a minute. What do you mean? Why don't you have the power? If you're a superior race, you should have the power to. They're just through your dominant genes, you should be able to do that if we're defective. That's just bizarre stuff. Kogali says that white people have a higher concentration of enzyme inhibitors, which suppresses melanin production, adding that melanin is important for a number of things, such as strong bones, intelligence, vision, and hearing. All right. Okay.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
She's good, this one.
She adds, melanin directly communicates with cosmic energy. Oh, I didn't take that into account.
Well, she's only dealing with facts.
Yeah, I didn't realize it communicated with cosmic energy. Now I see what you're talking about.
You see. Is 2 + 2 equal 4 in there, too?
No,
I didn't think so.
That's a Western cultural phenomenon.
Imperialism.
Yeah. In another post, she tweeted, please, Allah, give me the strength to not cuss / kill these men and white folks out here today. Oh, nice.
Wait a minute. You're concerned about cussing?
Wow.
Have you seen what you just wrote, woman?
Jeez. After being criticized for the tweet, Kogali responded by saying, I am not a public official. I am not a police officer. The state does not entrust me with violent weaponry. I've never contributed to the mass targeting of a community. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Well, good.
So it's okay to...
A lot of people have. A lot of people have contributed to the mass targeting of communities.
It sounds like you are targeting an entire community. People. You just called us subhuman and then a bunch of other crap.
And she'd like to kill us. She's asking for the strength from Allah not to. All I've done is used a turn of phrase, a rhetorical flourish, to voice my frustration and dared to be a person calling for justice. No, you were not calling for justice here. That's not what you're doing. You're disparaging an entire race. You're being a racist.
Come on, mix in a pudding.
And a hater, pudding.
Thank you.
That's, wow. Is that something else?
That is evil.
Jeez. It is. Thank you. Yes, it is evil. It's time to bring back the word. We've been trying to limit the use of that word, because maybe it popped up too much in the past, but it really applies now in several different places.
So
that is evil.
Are we subhuman or subhuman X?
Both. We're both. Subhuman and sub.
I mean, I can't even keep up with words anymore.
Subhuman. No, subhumexness.
Humexness.
Mm-hmm.
I want off this train.
Wow, that is really a real special. That's a real special post right there.
And BLM Leader.
And where did
Toronto?
Yeah. Where did she make this post? Was this on Twitter?
Long time ago, yeah. I guess they found it from a few years ago. Facebook or something.
All right.
Facebook.
So it fit the standards of Twitter back then?
Well, no. Yeah, I think it was a Facebook post or something like that.
Facebook?
And so, well, either way, right? But I think some intrepid people are going back and finding these quotes from these leaders of this movement. If this movement is going to take over and control society, I guess we should probably know who our new founders are and what they believe.
Right. Well, they're also, this is from Patrice Cullors, and she is not Toronto's leader. She is the leader here in America for the BLM movement.
We are trained Marxists.
Okay, I'm sorry, what?
Are trained Marxists.
They are trained Marxists. They are trained organizers. They are trained Marxists. Okay? All right. So hopefully we've cleared that up. By the way, we've got a bystander who hijacked a Democratic press conference telling reporters that, listen to what this guy has to say. How long is this? Can we fit this in here? I think we can.
Yeah.
Yes.
And every black leader, every community leader will be up here. Black Lives Matter, hands up. Blacks are murdering blacks every 32 hours since June. I've been in this town all my life. I'm 56 years old. I am afraid of being shot and gunned down by a black. Again, if this was a white police officer shooting and killing 3 blacks, people will be out here, the school will be on fire, people will be coming forward saying, I saw this white police officer. But because it's black on black crime, it is socially acceptable for blacks not to talk to the police. It is appalling. And every 32 hours since June, blacks been murdering blacks. And y'all guys got to do a better job.
Nice. Nice. Thank you. There's some common sense. There's some hope. There's a little glimmer of sunshine.
I needed that. Thank you.
And the darkness. Yeah. After our friend from Toronto, which was really lovely. So we've got that. And then we have something interesting from Don Lemon.
Yeah, Dinesh D'Souza tweeted out some interesting video from 7 years ago.
2013 is when this happened. So this is too long to play right now. We'll play this coming up after the break. He had that big argument with Terry Crews about Black Lives Matter and why they don't care about the black lives in Chicago and elsewhere when they're shot by other blacks. He was saying something. He was singing a different tune 7 years ago. That's for sure. Get to that coming up. We got this cool package in the mail. Dear Pat et al. Enclosed, you'll find a Big Frog 1099 3D print. I got the idea for it while listening to your bits. The 1099, the Big Frog design came from your T-shirt. The frog came from Thingiverse.com. I hope you get a chuckle out of it like I do your show, and remember the phrase that pays.
That is
that fun?
so cool.
That's
you know
cool.
what? I will take a picture of that.
And thank you so much. Ken Stuber. Very cool. So, Ken, thank you. That's really... So he 3D printed that.
Uh-huh.
That is amazing. Isn't that something? That is really cool.
That's a good... Thank you so much for that. That'll be a part of the studio forever.
All right. We got some tweets here. Corey Pa tweets, I'm pretty well okay with the changing the Pinocchio scale to the Fauci's scale. Get off my lawn tweets, the governors are convinced that masks are the answer irregardless of the data.
Stop, please stop.
Putting immediately to use our new word.
No. I'm thinking about blocking people on Twitter that start using that word.
Lone Wolf, if being frequently used is all it takes to be added to the dictionary, brace yourself for supposedly.
Oh, no. No. Are y'all trying to kill us this morning?
That's true, supposedly. Oh, man. There's something else, too, that it is always misused, and by prominent people. You hear them on TV all the time. It'll come to me eventually, but not in time. But halfway through Glenn's show, I'll think, that's what it was.
It's not nuclear, is it?
Well, that's another
I bet I know what
it
is. I bet I know what it is. Hang on a second, Rob. It's got to be, because mine is, especially watching sports. He's anxious to get back in there. No, he's eager to get back in there. He's not nervous, man. He's been doing this his whole life. He's getting paid millions of dollars.
Yeah, that's not it, but that's another.
What was it, Rob?
Literally.
Literally? Yeah.
Literally? Yeah.
So like it,
misused. Mm-hmm. But I'm talking, they mispronounced this word.
Mispronounced something?
Yeah, it's especially.
Oh, especially.
Especially. Stop it. That's especially exciting. Especially? How old are you? Do you also eat biscotti? What is the deal?
I eat Puschetti. It's not Buschetti. Everybody knows it's Puschetti.
I can't take it. Especially at night. No, it's especially. It's not especially. I hear that all the time. In fact, they might change the word. Maybe they'll change the word in Merriam-Webster's dictionary. It's used all the time.
Ideas, man, stop.
Jeffy's 18 Spoons tweets, I can't figure out why soccer scores are so low. The goal is nearly the size of Jeffy.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Oh, yeah, and then this morning I'm using my Jeffy-size mug, as you can see.
Oh, wow.
Because I need so much coffee. So little sleep going. So, anyhow. Actually,
that's funny.
Actually, what it is
that's a great cop.
I don't know what happened to my Nebraska mug. It sits in here every day. I go wash it out, and I bring it back here, and I hang it on the edge of the desk, and now it's gone. So I had to get to my joke mug, but it actually worked out because I needed a lot of coffee this morning. Jeffy size. Oh, wait, hey, it's in there. Thanks, Martin.
Oh, okay. That's all right.
I guess I left it in there yesterday.
I guess you did. Martin's got it. And he's drinking out of it, too.
Wait, whoa.
So he's getting his germs all through it.
You can keep it, dude.
Yummy.
Yeah.
No, you can keep that now. I don't need it anymore.
All right, let's go to Dave in Arkansas. Dave, hi, you're on the Blaze.
Hey.
Hey.
Morning. Hope you guys are all right, and I really don't care. My pronouns are Lord, Master, Toxic Male.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
This whole virus thing, it just, common sense is gone. And if you got teachers trying to tell us that 2 + 2 is not 4, no wonder they can't understand the data.
Yeah.
It just drives me crazy. I'm an essential worker. I've been out here the whole time. Up until just recently, no one I've known has even had it.
You do know somebody now with it?
Arkansas. Actually, my doctor died 3 weeks ago from it.
Oh, no, really?
75.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was like,
I mean, that doesn't make it okay, but yeah, that's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in that, the target range.
Yeah.
For this virus, but and he'd been seeing people the whole time.
Wow.
So,
did he get it from one of his patients? Do they think?
Yeah, they came in on Monday and he was gone Saturday.
Oh
his wife survived.
Gosh! It happened that fast?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what I understand. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, appreciate the call, Dave. It's interesting because when you're talking about people 60 and under, I think it's 65 and under, The death rate is 0.04%. 0.04%. That's 4/100ths of 1% chance
of those who
dying.
Of those who get it.
Yes, of those who get it, die. So, yeah, not 0.04% of the population. That would be a lot of people, actually. So, I mean, the vast majority, almost everybody who gets it, who's under 65, maybe you struggle a little bit with it. Maybe it's miserable for some time, but you don't die from this. And the point from many people lately is, don't we just deal with this, with the flu, with a common cold? If you're not going to die from it, let's just live life and protect those who might die from it.
But it's the election.
Try to keep them away from it.
It's the election year flu. And there's a Republican in the White House running for re-election, and so
this would be vastly different if Obama was in office.
Absolutely,
when this happened,
because we've lived this with like the swine flu and stuff like that, right?
Yes.
So we've already done this, and plus
H1N1 or H1N5. What was that?
Yeah,
one of those in 2010. 60. How many thousands of people was it? 60,000 died. 60 million got it. And I don't remember, 50 or 60,000 died from it. I've seen various numbers on that.
Plus, I'm pretty sure that back in January and February of this year, pretty much everyone in this building had the coronavirus, and we just didn't know it.
In January and February?
Sure. Remember, we were all sick in here.
Yeah, I do remember that.
I was
you were always saying it was the airflow in here.
Yeah, which, I mean, still was. But, and everybody was sick. It just like a flu season. Everybody in a building gets sick, and it runs its course. But
you don't shut things down. You don't cancel the Ivy League fall season of sports. It's amazing. Oh, not only did the Ivy League shut down, even worse, I think, to me, is Stanford just canceled 11 sports. So, what? I mean, like men's volleyball, soccer, a whole 11 sports. They just shut down all of a sudden.
I'm still waiting to care. You said men's volleyball.
Well, how pissed would you be?
Oh, absolutely.
If you just signed with Stanford to play volleyball, and now it's gone. Oh, my gosh, I'd be pissed.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Can you transfer?
Man.
I mean, seriously.
Well, I'm sure they'll make some provisions for them where you don't have to sit out a year if you transfer. But still, that sucks. I mean, Stanford can't afford... Don't tell me you don't have an endowment at Stanford that allows you to continue with sports for a little while until you recover from the virus thing. I don't buy it.
How many people have died so far worldwide from COVID-19? Do we know? I'm waiting for my page isn't loading, of course.
I don't know.
Global deaths. Okay, so we're at 549,000 global deaths. 549,000. Here we go. They're estimating that the 2009 H1N1 pandemic could have killed, they don't even know. The estimate goes as high as 575,000.
Oh my gosh.
So but here's the gap though. Look at this. It's like 151 to 575. So my point is, it's still less than the highest estimates that they have of H1N1. I mean, we'll probably pass that.
And we did nothing about H1N1.
Nothing. 60
million. We're up to 3 million in the U.S. with this disease. 60 million had H1N1 in 2010. We didn't even bat an eyelash. Nobody even talked about it. We didn't even talk about it. My son had it. We didn't worry about it. He got sick for a few days, then it was gone.
60 million cases in the U.S., they're saying.
And how many died in the U.S.? Do you have those numbers? 888-900-3393. While you look for those numbers, let me tell you about Rough Greens. Some people actually run with their dogs. I don't know why you would do that. Let your dog run. I mean, if he needs to run, go ahead and go out there and run. I'm not doing it.
It's too hot, man. Let's be honest.
Way too hot.
And humid and gross.
Oh, my gosh.
It's especially hot in the South.
Especially in the South. Yeah, you're right.
But irregardless of what the weather is, I'm not running for anything. Okay.
No, we've got cars.
Thank you.
Dogs don't have... They have them, but they can't drive them. We can. But if you really want your dog to be healthy, running around just isn't going to be enough. Your dog needs nutrients, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, probiotics, omega oils. All of that comes in Rough Greens VitaSmart. Been telling you about this for a while now. It's not dog food. It's a supplement that you put in your dog's food. Jam-packed with things that will promote a happy and healthier lifestyle for your dog. Your dog's going to go crazy for this stuff, too. They absolutely love the taste, and they gobble it up. Take the Rough Greens 14-Day Jumpstart Challenge. $14.95. You'll see the difference in your dog in 14 days or less. If you want to see your dog thrive again, go to roughgreens.com/blaze. That's ruffgreens.com/blaze.
Gray Unleashed.
As I said, I've seen so many different numbers on the H1N1. Keith just saw a number that's 12,000 died in the U.S.
Yeah.
I've seen 18,000. I've seen 30,000. I think I've seen 60,000.
Wow.
I don't think they know how many people died from H1N1.
No, remember that gap?
Because we didn't pay attention.
You're right. And remember that gap? They said, the CDC estimates that there were between 150,000 and 575,000 people worldwide that died from it. So we don't know. They have no idea.
And again, did you see that the CDC is thinking about stopping the epidemic talk? They're thinking about removing the epidemic label from this virus because the death rate is so low. That's interesting.
Sure is.
All right, we were telling you about Don Lemon back in 2013. Apparently felt a little bit differently on some of the violence, the black-on-black violence, I guess. He also, I think, felt a little differently about Bill O'Reilly because he starts out the segment talking about Bill. Here's Don Lemon, 2013.
It's time now for some tough love on the subject. The reason there is so much violence and chaos in the black precincts is the disintegration of the African American family.
Yep. He's got a point.
Oh.
In fact, he's got more than a point. Bill?
Raised without much structure, young black men often reject education and gravitate towards the street culture, drugs, hustling, gangs. Nobody forces them to do that. Again, it is a personal decision.
He is right about that, too. But in my estimation, he doesn't go far enough.
Oh.
Because black people, if you really want to fix the problem, here's just 5 things that you should think about doing. Okay. Here's number 5. Pull up your pants. Number 4 now is the N-word. Now number 3. Respect where you live. Start small by not dropping trash, littering in your own communities. I've lived in several predominantly white neighborhoods in my life. I rarely, if ever, witness people littering. I live in Harlem now. It's an historically black neighborhood. Every single day I see adults and children dropping their trash on the ground when a garbage can is just feet away. Just being honest here. Number 2, finish school. You want to break the cycle of poverty? Stop telling kids are acting white because they go to school or they speak proper English. Over the course of a career, a college grad will make nearly $1 million more than a high school graduate. That's a lot of money. And number 1, and probably the most important, just because you can have a baby, it doesn't mean you should, especially without planning for one or getting married first. More than 72% of children in the African American community are born out of wedlock. That means absent fathers. And the studies show that lack of a male role model is an express train right to prison.
Yep.
And the cycle continues. So please, black folks, pay close attention to the hip-hop and rap culture that glorifies everything I just mentioned. Thug and reprehensible behavior. A culture that is making a lot of people rich, just not you.
Wow.
Who was that again?
How the times have changed.
Who was that guy?
There's no way Don Lemon does that little rant today. There's no way.
He was upset that trash was dropped on the street, but he's cool now with burning buildings down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, help me.
Yeah.
This is a long...
Pull up your pants? There's... That's great. Let me give you one more, Don, that you can maybe make... push the others down a notch and make this number 1. Stop killing black children before they're born. How about that? We'd have 14 million more black people if you hadn't aborted them since 1973.
And then their kids, too, and so on and so forth.
Oh, man. Can you imagine? I mean, that's exponential. That's exponential growth in the African-American community. I mean, come on. Irregardless of what you think about Planned Parenthood, just make sure that black babies are born. Let Planned Parenthood exist. They can just do the other reproductive rights issues that they do, the other women's health issues that they do. You know, all the cancer screenings and whatnot.
I like that word, though, that you threw in there.
Did you?
I mean, first of all, you got irregardless in there. Mm-hmm. You got especially in there.
Yep.
And you got exponential in there as well.
Yes, it is.
Which is a favorite of ours here.
Yes, it
on
is.
The program from, former Vice President Joe Biden, if you'll recall.
Increasing exponentially. Top 1% and 2% have done exponentially better.
Well, corporate profit has been up over exponentially.
Their profits are coming up exponentially.
It's going to be up exponentially.
I'm glad we could misuse all these words today. It's good.
Do you honestly think he's going to end up on a debate stage with Donald Trump?
I don't know. They're trying to wiggle out of it right now. They just gave him a list of demands that these may not happen if you can't meet these 3 criteria or something.
Oh, really? I missed that.
I didn't pay attention much to it because I'm just so disgusted with the whole thing right now.
Maybe that's another motive by the mainstream press, especially CNN. The longer they can make COVID-19 seem like the Grim Reaper for everybody is waiting right around the corner, they can keep Joe Biden protected and insulated in his little basement there.
Yep. That's where they need to keep him, by the way. That's where he needs to be if he wants to have any chance at winning this thing. 888-900, because the more he talks, the more people are going to realize, wait, this guy is out to lunch. I'm not voting for him.
Pat Gray Unleashed on the Blaze Radio Network.
And some tweets here, too. Scintillating Duck tweets, white people are genetic defects. It's factual. Everything is satisfactual. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. Oh, no. Did you go Song of the South there?
Oh, what?
Oh, my.
We walked right into that trap.
It's factual. Everything is satisfactual.
Zippity-doo-dah.
Don't even do it. Oh. Don't go there.
My, oh, my.
Axis Tech tweets, so NBA players can exercise their free speech with social justice statements on their jerseys using any of the 29 phrases approved by the league. Yeah. But do you remember when you couldn't wear a sweatband or you couldn't have tape or... I mean, they have so many regulations that you can't do, that you can and cannot do in both the NBA and the NFL. But now, anything you want to say pretty much is fine. And you can even use it as your name on the back of your jersey. Hi, I'm Bob Black Lives Matter. And that's what you go by, I guess, during that game. I don't know. Bob Black Lives Matter just hit a 3.
Wait, who was it? World Be Free?
Yeah.
That was like a really big deal. Like,
deal.
You can't be putting World Be Free on the back of your jersey. But I changed my name to that.
I legally changed my name.
No.
Now you don't have to legally change your name. You just, whatever you want on there. That's fine. Don't worry about it. From Carl Smith, as a white person, am I allowed to say Don Lemon has skin like an armadillo? No, only he can say that.
Yeah.
Because he's the one who said it. Just too muck and fudge. Can we axe Merriam-Webster to add supposedly frustrating, etc.? Joe sniffed my hair. Nuclear. Yes, nuclear drives me out of my mind. I mean, the nuclear thing. George W. Bush did that all the time. You're the president of the United States. You've got the nukes at your disposal. And you say nuclear? Nuclear.
I mean, at least...
Got nuclear weapons.
he knew how to say OBGYN, though. Remember, Obama was OB-GYN.
Yeah, OB-GYN. Yeah. Well, he talked about the OBGYNs giving their love to women all over the country.
Yeah, I was leaving that part
all over the nation.
Practice their love.
So great.
Simpler times, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Back when we were innocent and naive. Texas Lori D, I'm exponentially excited irregardless. Get off my lawn. Words that aren't words. You should have never started this. You should have. There is another one. That's another pet peeve. I do love that. Should have.
Should have.
You should have. Big Poppy. I received my COVID test yesterday after 12 days, no less. I'm positive for the virus?
Well, you've just been walking around for 12 days?
No. So I'm a new case for Texas, but I'm already 99.9% recovered. Bet they don't put me on the recovered list. Wow. Well, I'm glad. Glad you're doing better, feeling better. Jeffy's 18 spoons. So Don Lemon used to be a white supremacist?
Yeah.
Huh.
I didn't realize
you think you know someone. Equus Limits 10. Wow, that's a side of Don Lemon I've never seen. Of course, I don't watch CNN, so...
Oh, there you go.
And Simple-Minded American. The Don Lemon video is obviously CGI. CGI. I love that.
Awesome.
All right, let's go to Chris in Kentucky. We've been talking a little bit about the COVID and where's your head at on the whole COVID thing right now?
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
So, good morning, men.
Morning.
I have, as a matter of trust here in Kentucky, I have kept the COVID numbers myself every day just to kind of watch things. And something struck me the other day, the statistics inside the statistics. We hit 1,000 cases ever in the ICU this past week, and we hit 600 deaths. Are we losing 60% of people in our ICUs? I think it's impossible. So I checked the CDC numbers. The CDC numbers are national average. 38% of people in the ICU are dying. So if that's true, 65% of our deaths in Kentucky never even saw an ICU. So think about that. The people that you want to save, the people that are vital, the people that have obviously health in front of them, will go to a hospital or an ER, right?
Yeah.
So who are these people? These people that are dying have to be languishing with terminal illness, do not resuscitate, people in nursing homes that have families that have basically given orders not to send to a hospital.
Yeah.
I mean, that 65% of deaths never even showed up in a hospital.
That's crazy. It's amazing. Wow. And do you believe those numbers?
Well, I mean, I've been watching the numbers, as we've been given them. The ones I don't believe are the probable cases. Todd Herman on Rush about a week ago, he plugged into the city council meeting in Oregon, and he was shocked. He wanted to hear about the CHOP test stuff. He was shocked. He had to listen to the COVID numbers. And he said the thing that was really, and he lit about this, they explained to the city council that their probable cases include people, when they test a positive case, the contact tracers then include anybody considered a close contact from a positive as a probable. So, it's the probable cases and all this garbage, I don't believe. The deaths, there's some of those deaths are questionable for sure. But if 65% of our deaths aren't even showing up in a hospital,
that's...
These are terminal people.
Right, and you made the point, the 65% number, and that leaves what, 35%, Keith math, right? 35% that actually went to the hospital. And when we talk to Erin Olszewski coming up at, 15, 20 minutes from now, she'll tell you the biggest mistake some of these people made was actually going to the hospital. In some cases, catching it there.
Yeah, this nurse that we're about to talk to who went to New York and spent a good time during, the peak of that whole situation in New York, says some of the patients were literally killed by the treatment they received at the hospital.
Yeah. Yeah, but how many people were killed by not, by denying hydroxychloroquine and all these other things?
Right. And is it true? Did you find that once people went on the ventilator, their chance of living was about 11%? Go ahead.
I've seen all that too, and now they're using those less and less. Now they're using these ambient air, just regular oxygen, and the death numbers are going down.
Right. Yeah, the ventilator was not good for people with COVID for whatever reason. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Chris. In fact, if you went on a ventilator, you were pretty well certain
pretty much
of death.
A death sentence.
Yeah.
According to medical professionals now.
Yeah, it was like 89% of people who went on ventilators died. Or maybe it was even higher than that. It was at least in the upper 80s, maybe the low 90s.
And one of the things Erin points out and others have is that, these states are getting a lot more money if you die on a ventilator than otherwise.
And it's hard, you don't want to believe
right?
that's what it's about. Nobody wants to think it's about money. But I think what she'll say and what she said on the video, she did a video, kind of an undercover video, and then she was interviewed for it afterwards. So she had some undercover and then just some interview portions. And have we posted it? Are we going to post we should post the video.
We can. I don't think we
maybe
have
on Twitter. So if people are interested, it's really long, but you can watch part or all of it, whatever. But it's really interesting. And she said that I said she believes it's about the money. It's about the money. And nobody wants to think that in the United States of America, hospitals don't care about the lives of human beings. They care more about the almighty dollar. But apparently in some cases, it just may be reality. 888-933-93. Also at Pat Unleashed on Twitter. Oh, the Supreme Court had an actual, what you could consider to be a constitutional decision yesterday.
No, stop.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen no more.
I know, right? But it did. Supreme Court yesterday upheld Trump administration rules allowing some employers to decline to provide contraceptive coverage on religious or moral grounds, which could leave, I love that line, which could leave more than 70,000 women without cost-free birth control.
Dun, dun, dun.
First of all, are you entitled to free birth control? Since when is that an American right?
Who is this? Associated Press?
It
Feels like the
is
Associated Press.
AP.
Yep. AP, hey-o.
Yep.
Okay.
The High Court ruled, get this, 7-2 for the administration, which made a policy change to allow some employers who cite religious or moral obligations or objections to opt out of providing no-cost birth control. You shouldn't have to provide no-cost birth control. That is just asinine. Okay, so that's a constitutional right now as well? I must have free. Okay, so you don't just need access to it. It's got to be free? Come on. I can't, man. Wow.
Remember now, Ruth Bader Ginsburg told us, you need to model our Constitution after other places like South Africa where they...
Yeah, well, it's a newer Constitution.
Yeah,
it's a newer Constitution.
More positive liberties.
Yeah. Which is one of the great things about our U.S. Constitution. It's a charter of negative liberties. And it should be, because that way you haven't spelled out just the things. I mean, you can't spell out every right. So instead, you spell out what the government cannot do to you.
It's a restraint on what the government can do to you.
Right.
It's not a restraint on what you can do.
And that way, just about everything else is just an assumed right.
And they even list it in there as the 9th Amendment. They say, look, it's your right if it's not in here and if it's not forbidden by your own state constitution, but yet we ignore it.
It was the beauty and the genius of our founders that they did it that way. By the way, in this decision, 2 liberal justices sided with the Trump administration.
I bet it was Kagan. Tell me it was Kagan.
Elena Kagan.
Uh-huh.
And this one really surprised me. Stephen Breyer.
Uh-huh. Oh.
Stephen Breyer?
Wow.
Who was supposed to be, by the way, a conservative judge. Did not turn out to be that way,
that's
obviously.
A good one.
Yeah, isn't it, though?
That's a fuddy.
How many times does that happen to us, though? Over and over and over and over.
It would take less time to count how many times we haven't been burned by conservative justices.
You could say Scalia. Mm-hmm. You could say Thomas, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Alito.
And Alito. That's about...
You said Thomas?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. We've already covered that ground. All right,
now,
so we got 3.
Have you heard the noise, the rumors that people are saying he's going to retire? Jeez, I hope not. Please, no. No. He's only really early 70s.
No. Please, dear
That would be a tragedy.
Oh, no.
It would be a tragedy to lose him. Because do you have confidence now after these last 2? I mean, Kavanaugh might be okay. I don't know. I'm not sure either one of them, Kavanaugh or Gorsuch, are going to be okay.
Justice Thomas, what can I do to keep you in that seat? What do you need? What
Please.
do you need?
Do we need a GoFundMe page just to keep him in there?
Seriously.
We'll give you a monthly stipend. Just please stay there by all that is holy.
I'm thinking, I know you're a Husker fan, dude, but you probably already have good seats, huh?
I mean, who do you replace him with?
Huh.
That's like losing the greatest quarterback of all time, and then you're replacing him with who? You got a stable of Blaine Gabbert or Colt McCoy. I don't know.
Colin Kaepernick,
who hasn't played in 4 years and wasn't good when he did play.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Oh. That just ruined my day. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I'm hoping it's just now people really close to him have said, no, he hasn't made any noise like that. So I don't know if it's just people's wishful thinking, but it's been rumored quite a bit. I've seen it in multiple articles. Also, the Trump administration gave formal notice. So these are some rays of good hope, some silver lining on the really dark clouds we got hanging over us right now.
Yeah, we do.
The Trump administration gave formal notice. We are formally withdrawn from the World Health Organization.
All right.
I mean, Trump does stuff like this that are just, filled with giblets. It's just a giblet decision. Am I right?
Uh-huh.
It takes big giblets to make a decision like that and then stick by it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody does that.
Mm-hmm.
George W. Bush didn't do it. Top-ranking Democrat on the HELP committee, Patty Murray of Washington, called the withdrawal an abdication of America's role as a global leader. We just led the way out of that freaking ridiculous organization.
Yeah. Now, get us out of the UN, President Trump.
U.S. out of the UN.
Mm-hmm.
U.S. out of my uterus, and U.S. out of my UN.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Trump, and we've got an election year coming up here in the next few months. I saw a fun stat today that said exit polls in 2016 showed that 28% of Hispanics supported Trump, or 20%. What was it? And then now
it's a high number.
Yeah, now it's 39% though.
What?
Right, Hispanics. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If that's true. And if it gets anywhere near what they're saying the black vote might be, with 12 to 15%, he wins.
Or is presidential hopeful Kanye West going to siphon off some of the black vote?
Yeah, we got to talk about that in a few minutes here, because that's kind of interesting. Let me tell you about realestateagentsitrust.com. If you're trying to sell your home, it's tough. It's hard to do. You don't know if you want to spend a whole bunch of money in order to get your home into the best, the best situation it can possibly be when you're trying to sell it.
Selling shape.
Yeah. Or do you just want to sell it and get what you can and then get out from under it? That's why you need a good realtor who can help lead you down the right road there. Selling your home as quickly as possible and for the most money possible. That's what they're trained to do. That's what they do. And they will guide you through this process. This is Glenn's company, and so they vetted these agents very carefully and made sure they had only the best ones in your local area. The area that the Big Frog serves, 109.9, the only station beyond the bandwidth of your FM dial. But Real Estate Agents I Trust, the name really kind of says it all. These are people that you can trust to help you sell your home quickly and for the most money possible. Or if you're looking to buy one, they walk you through that process as well. realestateagentsitrust.com. Go there today. realestateagentsitrust.com. Some tweets here. COVID Bullet 23 tweets, are you guys confusing death rates on ventilators with death rate on inhalators and breathalyzers?
They end up taking up a hospital bed. It costs you gave them treatment early, and they got some treatment and a breathalyzer
or
an inhalator. Not a breathalyzer.
No,
not an inhalator either, because I don't think there is an inhalator. There's an inhaler.
Do not miss him.
It's so bad. From Sherry, remember Boris Johnson never went on a ventilator. Now you know why. Yeah. He did go on a breathalyzer, though. They had him on a breathalyzer for a while. Yeah. Found out he was drunk as hell.
Wow. A lot of pubs there.
Yeah. Putin on a Ritz tweets, all these mispronounced words are giving me a headache. I need an espresso.
All right.
See, instead of espresso. See what he did there?
I do see what he did.
Mitch Foster, did the CDC clear their epidemic classifications with Cardinal Joe Tobin?
By what authority did you nullify the Bill of Rights?
I called up Cardinal Tobin, Cardinal Joe Tobin in Newark.
From Steve M., I could care less. See what he did there? Oh. Because the actual expression is couldn't care less. Sherry, remember? Oh, I already did Sherry. Okay, so there you got some tweets in your head. Keep them there. Use them at parties this weekend for a few laughs. People love it. People love it when you bring up tweets.
But when you're at the party.
Yeah, when you're at the party.
So hypothetically, like
so you say like I saw a tweet.
Okay, so you have to lead in with I saw a tweet. I want to tell you about.
Saw a tweet about inhalators. Let me tell you about it. You know, that kind of thing.
And then do you recite the Obama clip too for effect?
You have to.
Boy, that's gonna
otherwise they won't understand the context.
And I'm looking for someone else to talk to at the party.
Yeah. This is kind of cool because we've been hearing a lot of really bad polls lately. But according to this one, President Donald Trump is almost certain to win re-election in 2020.
Wow.
So according to political science professor whose primary model has correctly predicted 5 out of 6 elections since 1996.
Okay.
The primary model gives Trump a 91% chance to win. 91%! He noted that his model, which he introduced in 96, would have correctly predicted the outcome of all but 2 presidential elections in the last 108 years.
I'm liking this.
Thank you. Speak comfort to me.
Right.
This is so great.
Which does it say which 2 he got wrong?
Let's see. Wrong? Yes. He said this model gets it right for 25 of 27 elections since 1912 when primaries were introduced.
Okay.
The exceptions include JFK's election in 1916. That was super close.
Yeah, but wait. JFK cheated. Well, in more ways than one. But no, Illinois.
So that might be why.
Illinois, because remember Nixon said, look, I'm not going to fight this, even though Nixon would have won Illinois and then the presidency. So I think he's right there. What else is it? What's the other
JFK and George W. Bush in 2000 when
that was
he won a majority of the electoral college.
Dangerously close, 537 votes in Florida.
Yes, sir.
That's a nice model. 91% chance Trump is elected according to it. Wow.
I like that. Now, check this out from Donald Trump's opposition. His opponent in this election is so formidable. And he proved it again yesterday. Listen, this guy knows, Joe Biden knows what he's talking about. Check this out.
Lonnie knows I believe this every fiber of my being. We're posed.
What?
What I proposed is it can be done. I think we're in a position to really make it happen. And my team and your team already working closely together and to light up the path forward here. Critical laws like the PRO Act to strengthen collective bargaining.
The PRO Act?
On politics like prevailing and look. I guess I'm taking too much time. But, you know.
What? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages.
Oh no.
We introduce you to the three-ring circus that is this election this year. Holy cow.
Oh, no.
This, was he doing it live?
Yeah, I think that was a live stream or something. Yeah.
He's got to stop that. Why hasn't somebody said, look, Joe, you've got to record everything. Nothing can be done live, okay? We're going to record and edit every single video you do from now on. And we're canceling any debates that are coming up. We'll look for a way out of it. We'll blame it on Trump. Don't worry about it. But we're not doing a debate.
Wow.
Play that again. That is astounding. That might be one of the worst yet.
I'm telling you.
Look at this.
Lonnie knows I believe this every fiber of my being. We're posed.
You're posed.
What I proposed is
what?
It can be done.
Pause it for a second.
I think we're in a position.
He's trying to say we're proposing, I think.
But he's opposed.
But he
proposed.
Okay, let's see the rest of this.
I think we're in a position to really make it happen.
Yeah, me too.
And my team and your team
are
already working closely together
and
to light up the path forward here.
Okay.
Critical laws like the PRO Act to strengthen collective bargaining.
The PRO Act?
Politics like prevailing.
He'll explain it.
Look.
I guess I'm taking too much time, but you know.
No. You have the floor, sir.
No. Go ahead.
Please.
Tell me about your hairy legs.
By the way, I sit on the stand.
Uh-huh.
And it get hot. I got hairy legs.
Look, I talked too long about my legs. Let me talk to you about your legs. All right.
That's rough.
Whew. We've got Nurse Erin coming up. She spent some time in New York. She's got an amazing story to tell. Next. A few tweets here real quick. COVID Bullet 23. Guys, Stephen Breyer was a Clinton appointee. Never expected to be conservative. Yeah, I mixed that up with David Souter. Yeah. Breyer has done what, I guess, up until now, has done what he was expected to do. Nations under. That Joe Biden clip isn't even funny. This is elder abuse at this point. Also, Justin Souls. My wife is an RN and works with COVID-19 patients. The ventilators blow up people's lungs. Something's going on. And that's why we have gotten in touch with Erin Olszewski. Olszewski?
Olszewski.
No, it's Olszewski.
Well, let's find out.
How do you say it, Erin? How do you pronounce is it Olszewski?
It's Olszewski.
Olszewski. That's not what you said? What I said? That is not what you said.
I said Olszewski.
Listen, I don't hold it against you. Everybody messes it up. I'm fine with it. I'm going to have to shorten it.
Anyway, thanks for joining us. We watched the video where you're partly sort of undercover in this New York hospital and partly an interview. And it's an hour and a half or so of just really fascinating and bizarre information. You went from Florida to New York City to help out during the pandemic, right? Around the peak.
Correct.
Or just shortly thereafter. And you found some really strange occurrences going on there. Things like PPEs not even being worn properly. How is that possible with medical professionals like this?
Well, what happened is it became a liability-free environment. During this pandemic. So everything that, doctors and nurses had ever been taught kind of got, tossed out the window. And that's really sad because most people in there should have held their integrity and done the right thing, even if they weren't going to be liable if something happened. But nobody played by those rules. And that's really what set everything up for failure.
You noticed that, right away, I think, pretty close to the very beginning, that they were mixing non-COVID patients with COVID patients. Why would they do that? Is there a logical explanation for that?
No. I mean, I've thought about it. Like, that's one of the things that really surprised me when I got there is seeing all of these, non-COVID rule-out patients who are waiting tests on the same floors with these positive that we knew confirmed positive patients. And there's only, and I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. There would be patients that would have multiple negative tests and they were still diagnosed as COVID positive. So There was a lot of just reckless behavior.
And is that because they get more money from the federal government if they're treating COVID patients?
In my opinion, I think it didn't hurt to admit these patients, for a paycheck. And sadly, they essentially treated them as a dollar sign and disposable.
So, I mean, the inference here would be that they're trying to give COVID-19 to the patients who didn't have it to begin with, right? Isn't that what you would infer from that?
I would say that they weren't trying to avoid it.
Yeah.
Because if they were trying to avoid it, they could have utilized the comfort ship. They could have utilized the Javits Center. But instead, they just packed them all into Elmhurst Hospital like sardines. And, any medical professional, you don't even need to be a medical professional to understand that what's going to happen when you do something like that.
You mentioned that there is a rapid COVID-19 test. It takes, 45 minutes, I think you said, in order to get the results. But they were doing tests that take 5 to 7 days for results. What did they tell you when you asked why they weren't using the rapid test?
They were too expensive. Yeah, that was it. I mean, that was one of the recorded conversations I had with a doctor while I was there, and I asked about that. I'm like, if you can avoid putting these patients that are COVID rule out onto these floors by giving them a rapid test while they're in the emergency room and sending them home to self-quarantine like they were doing here, why aren't you guys doing that? It makes absolutely no sense when we have something like that available and readily available. So money, it was too expensive for them to invest in something like that. So why not just admit them to the floor, take their paycheck, and, it's essentially an assembly line to a body bag. You go to the emergency room, you get admitted, you eventually you put on a vent, and then you end up outside in the truck.
Yeah, and I mean it's almost a death sentence, isn't it? Putting them on a ventilator. I heard just astronomical numbers that once you wind up on a ventilator, there's about an 89 or 90% chance of death. Is that accurate?
Yeah, the doctor I was speaking with there stated that there hadn't been one patient that had been put on a vent and successfully extubated. Every single one of the patients had died.
Oh my gosh!
That's at the time when I asked him. I think maybe their turnaround is they probably saved 2%, and that was like in May. When
so like a 98% chance of death if you go on a ventilator. If you're a patient, can you say, hey, when you come in, don't put me on a ventilator. I don't care what happens. I don't want to be on a ventilator.
People have to have that. It's kind of like you can have a DNI order. It's called Do Not Intubate.
Okay.
That usually has to be done prior to even going into the emergency room. And most people obviously don't have that. And then what they were telling these patients is that either you're going to die of COVID or you're going to have to be put on a ventilator, essentially. So pick right now. And people are like, wow. Oh my gosh, am I supposed to pick death or am I supposed to go on this ventilator even though that's going to, and they won't tell you, we don't really have any successful, rate here. So you're going to end up actually dying either way.
Did they use things like hydroxychloroquine in combination with other drugs? Did they do any of that?
I know they were using it all the way up until March 23rd when Cuomo put out the executive order that banned it for any off-label use. And that's also another thing with that is, so everything was liability-free except if a doctor prescribed hydroxychloroquine for COVID. Then he could be liable, and he would probably lose his license and be fired.
So they wouldn't want to risk it, I would imagine.
Correct.
Right. Wow. We're speaking with registered nurse Erin Olszewski, who was in New York City for the coronavirus outbreak a couple of months ago. Like, what was the range you were there at the hospital?
I got there in mid-April, and I left towards the end of May.
Okay. And, I mean, you must have been you clearly in the video are surprised at the almost third world nature of this particular hospital. Is it just that they're serving lower income people, that they don't care, that they are looking for more federal dollars? Do you have an explanation for what was going on there?
It definitely is serving the more income population, Black, Latino, Asian population, underpoverished. A lot of them were homeless people that would be brought in through the emergency room. I really don't have any explanation for it. All I know is that if you look around at the, Manhattan hospitals or more, rich, more well-funded hospitals, you don't see that same pandemic type death rate that you do, at Elmhurst. So why? I think the only answer to that is money.
Tell us, you had an amazing story on the video about a 37-year-old patient who went to the hospital and he didn't have COVID-19. but ended up dying from it anyway in the hospital. Tell us that story.
He was one of those that were forced to be on a ventilator. I didn't have him when he signed the paperwork, but I did have friends there that were there that took care of him. And he was pretty much coerced into signing this, being put on a ventilator, ended up having like multiple different just procedures while he was like, pretty much kept in a coma for over a month, which ultimately ended up killing him. His story is particularly interesting because he was a full code, and his family wanted us to do absolutely everything. They made it very clear that they didn't want him to just be left to die. That's a do not resuscitate order. And what I captured on video with that is the doctors telling us nurses that we will not be providing life-sustaining measures if he tries to code. And that is, in my opinion, murder, because they're going against the patient's wishes and the family's wishes.
Right.
And then they would still document it as we tried, but no success. I mean, that kind of stuff happened all the time. All the time.
You and another nurse seemed to defy the doctor's orders and told him you would, in fact, intervene if necessary. Did you get any punishment for that? Was there any pushback on you for saying that?
Yeah, I mean, if you're looked at, I was switched units not long after that, and you're looked at like a problem nurse.
Yeah.
Like anybody that questions anything there is either you're moved units or ultimately sent home, which I was, down the road. But that's sad. You can't voice your opinion there, or you are punished for it.
Did they ask you to leave? Did they send you home, or did you choose to go home?
No, they kicked me out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
You were that big a problem child that they booted you out of the place.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Because I'm an ethical nurse.
Yeah.
With integrity, and I saw that what they were doing was wrong, and these patients can't speak for themselves. They're on ventilators.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a good nurse or a good doctor taking care of you, what do you have? Nothing. You just lay there and die. We're in the United States of America. We should not be treating our patients like this. This should never have happened.
At certain points, you've mentioned that you actually believe it was murder, that these patients were killed in some cases. How can that happen in the United States of America? What recourse do the families have? Just suing the hospital?
There's a lot of families that have reached out to me since this video came out, and there's not an attorney that will touch this stuff. And so I think the best bet is that we're going to need a federal investigation, and they need to look through absolutely everything. And I would be happy to lead the way, because without something like that, what do they have? Everything's under the guise of this pandemic liability-free environment. So who's going to touch something like that?
Has this affected you in your current hospital at your job in Florida, or are you okay there?
Well, I actually, before this video even came out, my attorneys and I went all the way up to the corporate office and let them know. We actually showed them the video and, just kind of gave them a heads up, this is what's happening. We just wanted to verify that. They wanted to verify that my hospital was in fact giving the hydroxychloroquine and zinc in the emergency rooms as treatments, and it was successful, and it was treating our patients, and we didn't see any deaths. By the time I left, I think there was maybe one this entire time. And so they're fine. I still have my job, but I did take a leave of absence just because, I'm interviewing a lot, talking to people and trying to get this word out.
There's a lot of people that believe that we've been greatly misled on this whole COVID situation in a lot of different ways, but especially that the virus is being overhyped, the danger overblown. Do you believe that, or is it this frightening? Does it warrant this amount of hype?
No, not at all. Not at all. We were successfully treating it here. I just want to know why they're banning treatments. Well, I want to know why these governors are getting in between the doctor-patient relationship. Right. And banning treatment. Like, we can treat it. There's multiple ways that have, been successful around the world. So this hype, it's all it is. And it seems to be turning into a very political type of game at the cost of patient lives. And that should never, ever happen.
And mask wearing, I'm curious your thoughts on that. Everybody wearing masks everywhere they go, does that protect us? Or is it because in the beginning of this, first they said no, then they kind of said yes, but only the N95 is worth anything. Now people are just wearing masks for the sake of wearing masks. Is that actually helping the situation at all, do you think?
No.
That's
no.
kind of what I thought.
I just can't. You know what?
So medically, that's doing virtually nothing for us, right?
I mean, I guess it's giving us a sense of comfort to those who need that. But
yeah, okay. It's symbolic.
If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask.
Right.
But nothing ever should be mandated. Like, if you're going to force me to wear a mask to go get, some groceries, I prefer not to then.
Right.
I just find that. So I don't understand it. It really blows my mind. And what's so crazy is people don't even want to hear this story or see the footage I took or listen to the audio because they just don't want to believe that it could be anything else than what the media is telling them. And it's really hard for me to comprehend that and why people wouldn't want to know the truth.
Yeah. Yep. On the COVID floors, did you guys wear the N95 or were you just protected with the same dumb masks that everybody's running around with?
No, we wore an N95 and then on top of it, we wore a medical grade surgical mask.
Okay.
So that's the thing. Like with these N95s, you have to be fitted. And even when you're fitted, half the time it doesn't work.
Fitted. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be professionally fitted. They put a hood over your shoulders and they spray some stuff in there. And if you can smell it, then the mask is not properly fitted. I mean, sometimes it can take an hour, 2 hours just to get a mask fitted. So people don't realize that. You can't just put a mask on and just feel like you're just going to be out in the world just completely invisible with this shield of, and then the T-shirt masks. I just don't understand it, but maybe I'm different than most.
No, I
don't know.
I think most people are probably where you are on this whole thing. Well, you're incredibly brave for speaking out, and there are some heart-wrenching stories that you tell in this video. I highly recommend people check it out. Thanks for all you're doing. And what can we do as Americans to put pressure on people to fix this situation? Is there anything we can do?
Say no to unconstitutional mandates, and definitely give the governors, your governors and your senators, my information, because you can't really look away from video and audio. And that was it took a big risk to be able to bring the American public that. And I think it's important that they see it so they can maybe have a different perspective, and it will get them kind of like thinking about why would the government be doing all of this when there's like a 99% chance of survival.
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be more to the story. So I just said, just get involved and start asking the hard questions that nobody else wants to ask.
Appreciate it. Erin, thanks a lot for all you're doing. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me, you guys.
You bet. Wow. It's fascinating stuff. And she's really going out on a limb. So I hope this helps and wakes people up to what's going on. And the fact that a lot of it is about the money. You don't want to believe that. Certainly not in the United States of America, in an American hospital in New York City, the largest city in the country, that's treating their patients like they're in a third world nation.
Yeah, she called it the Twilight Zone. She couldn't believe some of the stuff that was happening in there. I mean, there was another case where She had a patient who was doing great. He was FaceTiming with his kids. She told the kids that their dad was doing great, and they reassigned her. And literally 20 minutes after they reassigned her, he died. And it turned out that whoever had taken over his care had improperly put some bag or something in him. I mean, it's what in the world? What is happening? It's so
bizarre.
Depressing.
It's incredible. 888-900-3393 with your thoughts real quick.
But you got Kanye West?
Something we didn't get to yet that I want to talk about is Kanye West running for president.
It's going to save us all. President Yeezy.
I think what he's actually trying to do is split the vote, the Democrat vote.
I don't know.
Is that it seems like
he has said that he wouldn't mind to hurt Biden. He doesn't mind.
On how the race will be decided, he says, let's see if the appointing is at 2020 or if it's 2024 because God appoints the president.
Oh, so he doesn't know when he's running yet.
It's going to be either 2020 this year or 2024.
But he says he's not going to run as a Democrat or a Republican. He's running under the birthday party banner.
The birthday party?
Because when we win, it's everybody's birthday.
That's great.
End quote. Oh, by the way, he also wants Elon Musk to head up his space program.
Yeah, Elon's already apparently on board with his campaign.
Sure is.
He says, if I win in 2020, then it was God's appointment. If I win in 2024, then it was God's appointment. Oh, all right. And if you don't win in either of those years, what is it then?
Well, God wanted someone else to win.
Somebody else,
Yeah,
okay.
Sure. Right. By the way, before we forget, I didn't realize this. Thanks for telling me, Rob, that Erin wrote a book, our guest just then, Epicenter Nurse. And it's I don't know.
So there's not just the video. There's also a book out.
Is it already out then? No, it's going to be released in August. Okay, so Epicenter Nurse. We'll
be looking for
Erin
that.
Olszewski, yeah.
And this from Leonidas Johnson, who is an actor, and he's inspired by Halle Berry's stand on not doing a trans part in a movie because she's not a trans person.
Right. Somebody else got to get that role.
Got to get a real trans person to do a trans role. He says, in light of Halle Berry's apologizing for considering playing a character that is not who she actually is in real life, I'd like to also apologize. I regret to inform you that I once played Lumiere in Beauty and the Beast.
No.
You bastard. However,
what are you doing?
I am not a candlestick. He's not a candlestick, and yet he played one in a movie.
Well, he sees the error of his ways.
Nor am I French. That isn't even my real hair.
Wow.
I am devastated and ashamed of my behavior. Actors must only play roles that are exactly like themselves, and I have failed. I'm so sorry.
I love this guy.
My heartfelt apologies to the French candlestick community. He's going to get a load of crap for this. What a hate monger. Mongering and hate.
I love it.
I will use this opportunity to listen, to learn, and to grow as an ally.
A candlestick ally?
Fortunately, Leonidas is black, and so that may shield him a little bit.
Okay.
If that was a white actor, he'd already be blacklisted.
Yeah, this guy's
by
great.
Hollywood.
He just tweeted
Really
out
awesome.
that he put up a page to like a GoFundMe page for these victims, these children, these black children who have been killed in violence. Black Lives Matter doesn't care about them.
No.
So he has posted a GoFundMe page for their families. What a great guy.
All right, we will see you tomorrow back here on Pat Gray Unleashed.
Pat Gray, only on the Blaze Radio Network.